Well, this marijuana dispensary here in Leslieville was the scene of an armed robbery last night, but police say that staff members are not cooperating with the investigation. Now, this comes just a few weeks after another pot shop in the city's West End was also held up at gunpoint. That crime was never reported. Now, tonight we take a look at how the gray areas surrounding these businesses could be putting neighborhoods in danger.
We don't know what was taken. We don't know whether it was just cash or whether it was valuables, and it's the information is that they're not giving us makes it difficult for us to proceed because we need to know what happened.
As officers responded to reports of an armed holdup unfolding last night here at Cannabis Culture on Queen Street East, police say the business owners are only offering vague details, creating a roadblock in the investigation. So the business did report it, but they're not being necessarily cooperative.
That's correct.
We also attempted to find out what happened, but were shut down on entry. I'm just wondering, I just heard that this place was robbed last night, and I just...
Being on film, on camera, please leave.
This is at least the second time in 3 weeks a marijuana dispensary has been the target of an armed robbery. We were the first to tell you about Canna Clinic on Ossington being held up by 4 masked men back in December. Even though a couple of witnesses went to police the next day, the actual business is refusing to report it, once again blocking a proper police investigation.
A lot of the information we get when it comes to investigating crimes comes from the victim. It comes from the complainant who comes forward and says, look, this is what happened to me. This is the person's description. This is the circumstances, or
here's the video.
Here's the video. We're not getting that cooperation in this stance, which makes it incredibly difficult for us.
Is it a crime to not report a violent crime or an armed robbery, something of that caliber?
It's not necessarily an offense to not report that crime, but it's the right thing to do to come forward and report that. When we have situations like this that do it, like we're talking about a significant amount of force here. We're talking about men who reportedly or allegedly have firearms. This is something that needs to be dealt with.
Several business owners who share a block with Cannabis Culture here on Queen Street are incredibly rattled by the situation.
I thought that they'd been raided, and I heard, though, that there's been a number of dispensaries that are getting robbed, and I thought immediately there's a lot of safety issues.
Cannabis Culture is part of a chain. In fact, the Queen West location was raided by police back in June and temporarily shut down. It's owned by Mark Emery, who is a well-known marijuana advocate. You know, a few months ago, police were cracking down on these businesses. So do you think this is why the owners may not want to reach out to police?
Again, I can't speculate as to whether or not that's their motivation as to why they don't want to report it to police or not.
Why rob a bank when you can go to a dispensary now and there's no protection, or that they're hearing that there's not? And I think that's terrifying.
But police would fully take a crime like this serious.
We're talking about serious offenses involving firearms, involving people that are using a significant amount of force, and this needs to be addressed. So we have been looking for security cameras on the outside, the front of this building, and we haven't been able to locate any. So right now it's unclear if police actually have footage of this robbery. At this point, we also do not know what was stolen when this incident happened last night. There is no suspect description, and right now police are asking witnesses to come forward.